we don't have the big man to bellow at us. The old welcome, punters. G'day, punters. Welcome to. Oh, it's just Jason, the most relaxed man on earth, and myself this week. Have a go at him.
On holiday this week, pink linen shirt, Ray-Bans, chilled out.
You still don't look. You still don't look as relaxed as PD does these days. Living down at Coffs Harbour.
Never relaxed. I know where the big fella is. He's MIA. Could be at a music festival on a big bender. Could be.
Mate, I don't think he wants to tackle the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 races. That's beyond his limit. He likes those little 2 and 3 race meeting feature cards. He doesn't like to tackle the all-in ones like you and I. He doesn't like to get his teeth too far into it, I don't think.
It's having a crack. I've been getting some good messages about the show, so thanks to everyone who's DM'd me and said they value the show. Keeps us going. We obviously do it for our own enjoyment in a way. So hope we're helping people with trying to decipher some of these races. You're going
to never get everyone agree. Needs a more floral shirt, mate. Someone's already into you. I like it. Look at this.
Right, it's pink. It's pink pinstripe, but I can't go pink floral. But I appreciate the feedback. I'll work on that. I'll leave the floral to PD, I think, and I'll leave the class to myself. He's one of those high. He's in those high weights carrying 72.5, and I'm fucking running group races. I think when it comes to the old fashioned in the Punters Academy,
mate, we don't get him too upset. He'll never come back.
Oh, we don't want to upset. He might watch this. Who knows? He's probably.
I doubt it, but you never know. Someone might send him a clip. Nigel or someone will give us up. Nigel will give us up.
Nigel wouldn't give me up. He's too good a bloke.
Rosehill Guineas Day in Sydney, and just a couple to follow to cover in Moonee Valley, the All-Star Mile, and Alistair Clark. Where do you want to start? You're
running the show, JW. I'm prepared.
Mate, we'll knock over Moonee Valley because it didn't sound like you were too excited about the Alistair Clark, so we'll knock over the Valley. So the All-Star Mile is the first race. I don't know if they got a full field yet. They keep losing runners. They've lost potentially Gentleman Roy, and there's a cloud over it, and there's a cloud over Cascadian, is there? I don't know if they've been cleared yet, but at the moment.
Well, neither of them have got a chance, but they're in at the moment. I've got the fields up here. So
Gentleman Roy is probably important.
To be vetted. He is important. Yeah, he is important for the race. But albeit Keats have said they're going
bananas,
foot to the floor the whole race. So they say it's one pace, only chance they've got. So if you look at that 800-metre race at Stanley a couple of weeks ago, so I think Gentleman Roy would just sit behind him anyway. So I don't think the speed's faster or slower with or without him. So here's what it is.
Betting is surprising to me. Alligator Blood $2.70. I'm Thunderstruck $6. Mr. Brightside $6. Law of Industries $13. She's a belter. Still can't believe it didn't win last week. $15. And then it's sort of 20-1 plus the rest. It's pretty skinny up the top end. What do you say?
Yeah, I think as usual with the All-Star Mile, it's like the top end's the only winning chances, and then it falls away pretty quickly. That's when you have a weight for age race that's got voting and stuff in it. That's what you're left with. There's to me, there's only really 2 winning chances. Everyone knows how big I'm Thunderstruck fan who watches this. And when the fields first came out, I thought I really want to find him. Sandown's not his track, so we've got to. Everyone wrote him off after that Underwood in the spring, and look what he came out and did. So I'm very, very willing to forgive those 2 runs at Sandown. But then I've just gone forensically through his form, and you have to say that his best runs are when he can get the toe in a little bit. And by 4:20 p.m. on a 37-degree day in Melbourne, you're not going to be getting your toe in here. And so it makes me I was defaulting to him. But I just don't think you can go past Alligator Blood. I mean, he's really not a horse. Since he beat Private Eye in the Stradbroke and broke my heart when I was on Private Eye at 15s, I've pretty much hated the horse. And I've really battled with him. But, what Gay's done with him is extraordinary. The win first up was strong. He doesn't need to lead. He's not a control freak, as you saw in that win because Nugget led them out. I think he just sits behind Kate. Blake will rate it supremely, and it's just really hard to see it getting beat. I actually think 7 to 4, $2.70 is a right price. I really, really do believe that. I don't think you're going to get much better on the day. If I'm wrong about I'm Thunderstruck and he's as good on the good as he is the wet, he's right in this. And I thought Mr. Brightside sneaking up on the rail is probably the only other chance. But I just can't see Mr. Brightside beating Alligator Blood home on ability. Sure, there's luck and running and that sort of thing. I just think Alligator Blood's a better horse than Mr. Brightside. So I'm Alligator Blood. I'm going to back it for the very first time on Saturday. But I'll be having a sanity saver on Thunderstruck. And I just could not see anything else winning.
Yeah, the Keats thing makes it really tough. It's not like it's going to string him out, and it probably will play into Alligator Blood's hands. You think sort of drag the sprint out of everyone else. He'll sort of be up there and just Jay Waterhouse, Bone and Muscle are just 270s. The only thing that scares me. I don't know. I've always loved the horse, and you destroyed me. You broke my heart the day it beat at Flemington that day, but that was on a wet track, as you say. Like, this is definitely not the same sort of thing. It's probably he's only had one crack around the valley, and that was in the Cox Plate. He went okay there for sure. Beat 2.5 on a wet track, and it's going to be a very different race shape, everything here. It's a bit of a weird one, and it's a perfect setup for people who. The true believers in I'm Thunderstruck and Mr. Brightside are probably going to struggle to get away from them this week just because they're getting the $6 as opposed to $2.70 Alligator Blood. So from a betting perspective, it sets up to be a nice race. But I'm probably happy to watch it and cheer for Alligator Blood for your sake. Probably Timmy Clark won't be cheering for Alligator Blood that hard. I'm sure he will be. Big, stable, loyal man. But it's a big decision for him to stay in Sydney and walk away.
Did he have the choice, did he?
Well, I think the stable kind of said, we've got 10, 15 runners in Sydney, so we're happy for you to stay in Sydney. But they obviously probably had first choice at whether he wanted to give up, potential Golden Slipper rides or whatever to ride this horse. So I'm sure a little piece of him might be hurting if Blake lifts him over the line, but that's part of racing. It is 10 minutes before the Slipper too, so it'll be interesting to see. He might just come out and bang the Slipper winner home if the Blood does get home to compensate.
Who's he on in the Slipper?
Oh, that Platinum Jubilee. So Blinker's first time. Oh, yeah. So she's 20 to 1. But mate, You never know. Tim Clark, when he's thinking about money, he can do extraordinary things.
Friend of the show. Friend of the show. Tim.
Friend of the show. When he's thinking about mortgage payments or anything, he can definitely find another length, the big fella.
Come on, mate. Jockeys don't have wages. Come on, mate. Either to jockey managers, let's be real. They're the richest people.
They do, but it's on their 7th property. It's not on the first 6. All right, Alistair Clark. Amenable $3. Japanese Empire $5. Dunkel $5.50. $6 Bank More. What the hell is the name of this thing? Sears 7. Sears 7. It's $11.
Who's CR7? Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah. Oh, is that what it is? No wonder I don't care.
Yeah.
That's not a sport, mate. It's not a sport. $11 for Cristiano Ronaldo. Mr. Fabulous $12, $20 the rest.
I'm not going to get into a rugby league debate with you. This is a great example of where the Australian map of racing, or whatever you want to call it, pattern of racing is completely fucked. $750,000 Group 2, 2,040 metres on the same day as a Rosehill Guineas to give this race some relevance. And it's the same prize money as the Futurity and the Oakley Plate. It's just ridiculous. A very wise man pointed that out to me late last night. I'm just trying to pull up my fields here. My computer's a bit slow in WA. You've got the Australian Guineas form here. You've got Dunkel coming back from Tassie Derby, very promising horse, pushing on through the prep. And you got a very promising horse called What a Deal, who was pretty good in open class last start. So I'm a huge fan of What a Deal. Just the barrier's a bit sticky here, and I do think as a done deal, he's going to keep getting better. Hope they go forward. There's not dynamite pace here. I think he can run a race at 20s. What a deal! Out of the Australian Guineas, it's very hard to split Bankmore, Amenable, and Japanese Emperor. I probably think I called out Japanese Emperor at first up in that race. If you go back to its first start in a race in a maiden, I mean, the way it won, this horse is going to go somewhere. And I think they're thinking it's an AJC Derby horse. So I could probably just at the price between 2, 3, and 5 spec 5 each way as well. So 5 and 6 for me. 2 and 3 undeniable chances. One's going to have to come right round him to win. 10's a horse for the future.
In its first prep. Holy heck.
Yeah, but Paddy Payne takes him out the farm, and who knows what he does with him out there. Gives him lots of R&R. And 10 is a really, really promising horse for the future. I just wonder if they've bitten off more than they can chew here. Cristiano Ronaldo's at 10. So, yeah, it's one of those average races. The poor Group 2.
Yeah, I trying to match up Amenable and Japanese Emperor was probably the $1 million question, and Bankmore to a certain degree. I don't think Gate 1 suits Bankmore unless it gets a really uninterrupted path, which is probably unlikely around the valley. You'd have to say Amenable was arguably a better run there, but will that run bring on Japanese Emperor? It had the uninterrupted run and sort of seemed to get a little bit tired late, whereas the other one was lucky to stay on its feet. It's not really an argument that I'd even probably want to get involved in. They're drawn to be in tricky spots too, all of them potentially. Like you said, there's not much speed. What a deal. I think it's a good find. Should roll across with, what's the other? There's one leader.
Swizzero.
Yeah, and running on time. So there's going to be a few horses that potentially might be speed humps at the end of the race in the way of the favourite. So to me, it's a pretty ugly race, and I'm with you. I'd rather be looking for value in What a Deal than be getting too involved with the favourites.
Well, we got Terang Race 7 up. So while we're getting Sydney up, I'll just point out on Twitter, started up after a few requests. A Telegram service similar to Racing Watch. If you haven't subscribed to Johnny's Racing Watch, you should be. Mine's a totally free service. Just keep punting Telegram app. You can see the link on my Twitter page. If not, just DM me.
I'll stick it in here too for people that are watching. I'll stick the link below.
Totally free, guys. No hitches. I don't want the responsibility of having to give daily form and that sort of thing. I'll do it when I can. And, I'll be AFL and racing based, predominantly Victoria. So if you want to join, more than welcome. No hitches, free. Get amongst it. Love to have you on board. And I've turned off the ability to send me abuse. So I can just send out tips and you can't abuse me, but you can go on Twitter and abuse me if you want. But, good start at Royal Terang today. We're doing well at Royal Terang, so that's good.
If anyone wants to abuse you, I've got your phone number, your address, I've got your work address, I've got every way of contacting you. If anyone wants to abuse you, just come through me. I can make sure they can find you.
Bring it on, as long as you can cop it back.
Rosehill, so 2 metre rail at Rosehill. What's that?
Let's get to the real meeting.
2 metre rail at Rosehill. It has been 1,000 degrees the last few days there, and certainly looks like it should be a good track. It'd be crazy if it wasn't. I'm just checking to see whether they're putting irrigation on. 2 mils irrigation last 24 hours. So they're saying they've only put 2 mils. That will do absolutely nothing, you would imagine, to the surface. So hopefully that just keeps it good. We want a hard, fast track, I think, or that's what I'm certain, mate. Well, there's that many people joining your Telegram now. It's interrupting this show.
Is it? Yeah.
There's a few heads popping up on my screen, so they're joining. Yeah, I'd expect a hard and fast surface. Sort of inside should play pretty good and difficult to circle from back and wide unless you've got a really strong tempo assistant. So I think those up on speed will be certainly getting their chance tomorrow. First race we look at is the Rosehill Guineas, which is weird in itself, isn't it? The race 4 on the program, Rosehill Guineas.
Yes. Markets?
Yeah, markets. Pericles, $2.70 around. Elliptical $4.50. $6 Lindemann. $9 a Matcha Latte. $12 Man Zeus and Williamsburg. surprised that Brosnan's $17 and a little bit surprised that Osbed Rising Sun's $19. So that's the full market. Don't normally go down that far anymore, but I think it's sort of justified in this small field.
Do you really? Okay.
Well, if you want me to go, I'll go first. Then, if you want me to,
Well, you're the Sydney expert, so let's
we go back and forth. No experts here, but
you start.
Pericles was obviously first up. Was just a beautiful run from a fitness building perspective. Interesting to see how he came back off a pretty tough prep last time where he saw a lot of wet tracks and was thrown in the deep end. And it was a nice pipe opener. But to see what he did second up was pretty special, I thought. He had a nice run, but he just sort of leveled out, went like a bullet, Pericles. And he's going to get a very similar run here. He'll probably just follow Lindemann across, or he'll come across and Lindemann probably will cross him. And it doesn't look too much pressure in this race at all. Elliptical, I'd assume that with the blinkers coming off and a tongue-tied visors, they'll probably want to be quite neutral on him. He'll still probably land fairly close to the speed, but there's nothing that wants to push the speed that I can see. And yeah, he looks extremely hard to beat. When I was talking about the roughies, Osbred Rising Sun, wasn't too far away. I think he was like 2 lengths away from Pericles last start and had an arguably a tougher run in transit, and he was nice and strong. If he finds the fence here, he'll run the 2000 out without an issue. Another horse that's sort of deep into it. First prep though, which is never easy, but like I said, sort of $17 seems silly. And Brosnan was just probably the run of the week last week. I just like that he's on the 7-day backup, which none of these are. He's coming off an 1800 metre run, so he'll be ready to peak. And if he drew low, I'd be launching at the $4 a place, but he's probably drawn to circle him from back in the field, which is going to be a nightmare. But I thought Pericles would be close to odds on here, to be honest.
Yeah, interesting. So I actually priced at about $3.20. I was a bit surprised to see it so short. It's interesting that you've been a lot more aggressive in your pricing. I backed Elliptic on the Guineas. I thought he went awful. I was very disappointed in him. There's no way I can back him off that run in this. I think Manzois isn't ready. They're training it for one race in my eyes.
Agreed.
And then you've got that Randwick Guineas form. Pericles was dynamic. It's just one of those horses. It's I've battled with in terms of I've backed it when it hasn't won and I've missed it when it's won. I should have smashed it last start. I think he's clear top pick here. Love the way he won, but I'm mindful of what he beat. I don't think it was much. It certainly wasn't Randwick Guineas form. So that for me just makes it hard to take anything too short. I think you'll start with a 3, but interesting. You think you'll start evens.
Well, I agree with you when you start to that it's not vintage Randwick Guineas form, but yeah, trying to line up whether that's what we saw this time around is kind of where my line of thought is. But I know what you're saying.
Yeah, and so then the only other one I thought in terms of what do I make of that Randwick Guineas form? I thought Machelate, he was a little bit disappointing, but he was sort of held up for a run, and then, he could have finished off better. But I just wonder, given the spring champion run, if sort of 2000's been the go the whole time, and Newnham's got a pretty good record in this race. I just thought at $9, that's what it was last night when I did this race. I just thought at $9 and $3 in an 8-horse race, it was the value play. But I've got the Pericles definitely top pick. And but I thought Machelate was the overs in the race. I can't back 1 and 2. And I thought, and 6 is sort of in with it as well. But I tipped Brosnan the place in the show last start. So I see it was a good run. I can see why you think it's a chance. But I'm going to say Pericles and Machelate.
I'm there, like what you're saying, pretty much alluding to the same thing. Pericles, I think I've marked it 230, right? 240. And then everything else $9 plus, but they're all sort of 9, 9, 12, 12, 13. There's no horse there that I can see that they're going to have to do something extra, which is why I normally when you keep coming back to a horse like Pericles, it's usually a good thing. But I think
still can't get over what William Buick did on it in the Derby when I was on it. Bloody 30s or 50s or whatever it was. It's the stupidest ride I've ever seen.
100%. All right.
And then he Zapateo'd me in the last. That was a tough day, Derby day, to take. I tell you, I won on that day.
Well, we've got Zapateo again in the last. Is that going to help?
I know. I haven't got to that race yet, but God,
well, they put up $6, which was a nice price, but it's no longer $6.
Did they put up $6? I thought it was $3.70. I thought that looked all right. But
yeah, $6 they went up. All in, not all in. Final field betting $6. Race 6, Ranvet Stakes. What have we got? I actually didn't think I had it in field order, but I do. Gold Trip, $4 roughly. I think there's probably better around. $4 Mo'unga, $4.20 Dubai Honor, the obvious query runner in the race. Hinged, $5.50, $6.50 Montefilia. El Bodegon with the blinkers applied, 15, and Banker's Choice, 18. You want to tackle it? Wait for age race, your speciality?
Fuck. These UK horses, like, how can you bet with confidence in anything? Bodegon's going like a busted. Banker's Choice, I tipped the 20s last start in the non-conformist race. I tipped the wrong 20-1 horse, but I ran third. Montefilia improves out of his sight second up. But I mean, look, I'm not going to fuck around in this. I'm just going to go to it. Gold Trip was absolutely enormous first up. When you actually dissect its form in Australia in the spring, it's all been phenomenal. The Turnbull run was amazing. The Caulfield Cup run was phenomenal. The Cox Plate run was brilliant. And obviously won the Melbourne Cup. Comes out when it's soft in fitness. Keats runs him along. And it just absolutely motors home when other things that were first up were just like puffing. They couldn't go because of the fast pace. I think this thing will win the Tancred. It was $5 after that run. It's in the $3.50 now, but I'm all over it for the Tancred on the 25th. So I'm with it here, and I'll be chopping out on this Dubai Honor just because I just don't know, and I'm not going to go. I'm penning this horse because it's an overseas horse. I just think that's you got William Haggis and Ryan Moore. Like you just don't be stupid. Quality horse, quality connections. Backing 1, chopping out 3. Done. If Mo'unga beats me, good on it.
Yeah, it was a good run the other day too. It's a bit of a head stuff for me because you've got no speed in the race whatsoever. I'm assuming they'll try and punch forward with old Bodegon with the blinkers on, and then it's up to whoever to make a decision. But it's just I hate these weight for age races, especially when there's no leader. There's just weird things happen. I would have been calling you insane for tipping this horse on fast ground until it went so well, and that was a fast track at Sandown, and obviously last 800 of the day there off a strong tempo. So maybe his feet are in good order this time in, and if they are, look out. Can't knock what you're saying, but a race that I personally won't be playing in. But I would have thought that the winner will come from Mo'unga. Dubai Honor or Gold Trip. Montefilia, I think she's just not got a turn of foot at all these days. She really grinds away, and I can't see this race be run to suit a grinder.
Yeah.
All right, next. What's this race? George Ryder. This feels like we just did the George Ryder. Isn't it weird? The Ranvet Stakes and George Ryder on the same day. They're basically the same race. Animo, $1.60. Artorias, $6.50. Fangirl, 10. Golden Mile, 13. Levante, 18. Osipenko, 20. So I'm going to mention Electric Girl and Communist because I thought they were big prices, 23 and 26. But that's about it, under 40-1.
Oh, the George Ryder. One day I went to Rosehill, rekindled interest in the Munns colours. It was like $26. Absolutely unloaded on it each way. Metal fucking bender, hasn't raced in like 5 years. Wins. Beats it on the line by a nose. Never races in another race ever again. Mate, still never get over that. Wake up in cold sweats.
I remember it like it was yesterday. I know.
Oh, mate, honestly. And if you actually go to the TVN footage of Waller being interviewed after that race, there's me in the background like being an absolute jerk behind him as well. My mate's recorded it and he can still send it to me to this day. Anyways,
down Denham
the
had
George
it
Ryder
early.
is,
Denham had Metal Bender. Far
yeah.
out.
While I did it, fucking was crying and interview. Piss off, mate. The George Ryder is just always a quality Group 1. It's just one of the great races on the calendar. I'm not going to really spend a lot of time on it. Animo has just always been a horse who's been stepping up in trip. It's been absolutely dominant in its first 2 wins this prep. Stepping it back in trip here, only 100 metres. It shouldn't make a huge difference, but it is a challenge for it, I think. Challenge for James. Drawn really sticky. So we saw, so he's going to have to find a spot, not get caught 3 wide. The 3-year-olds put a bit of X factor into the race in terms of the bottom 2. I mean, Communist did really fucking well last start. As much as a surprise. Osipenko's a horse got all the time for him. Fangirl's great in the dry. So, and then you got the old horse that I called a non-trying dog that actually won last start, Artorias. So, well ridden by Zach. So I don't know what to make of it. The only bet I could have is Animo, but would I have 5 figures on it at $1.70? No. So I'll probably watch it and hope he wins and goes to the UK and runs in the Queen Anne, race 1, first day of Royal Ascot, and wins that. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, I've marked it like 250 Animo. I think at best he probably ends up outside leader, and maybe they control the speed. Maybe Electric Girl punches forward and they control the tempo. But I still think I'm with you. I'm a mile back to 15, third up. He could be vulnerable. He hasn't really sprinted hard in any of his runs. These 2 runs back, he's sort of done what he's had to do. He's had every possible chance in both runs, which is what he seems to do every start. Maybe that's why he's such a good horse. But he'll run well for sure. Doesn't matter what they do. But he does have a decision at the start. He's going to be vulnerable, I think. And it's just scary.
When you say he hasn't sprinted hard, he looks like he's gone like the wind to me.
Yeah, but what I mean against the clock, he hasn't really like that last start. They've gone out the length below. The race has come home sort of the length and a half below. He's come home himself. Okay. Yeah, like he's not sharp is what I'm saying. He's probably, if anything, like looking at what he's done, like he's run the fastest 8 200 of the day. He's come home sort of 5 lengths away. So he's not going terribly by any stretch, but he's not like electric either. You know what I mean? Like super dominant away for age. He's no Winks, which is kind of his Winks' price to mine. That's where I'm coming from. And if anything, he's vulnerable to that as a horse with a better turn of foot than him. And Artorias has drawn 1, and if it jumped by act of God, it's neck deep in the race. I don't think it will jump, and it's going to need a lot of luck. And Fangirl's probably in the same sort of boat where it has to be taken back straight to the fence and ride for luck.
Yeah, great.
Every chance Animo's off and gone, and they run home well and don't get him. And that's probably, what'll eventuate. I just thought that Electric Girl's nearly certain leader, and Communist is a very big chance of lobbing straight on its back. And they both ran well. So for people who are playing exotics, Cornelis trifectas, I think, 25 to 1 for both of them, even though I wouldn't rate either of them in this sort of race. Usually the way this race sets up, the way the track's going to play, I'd assume that both of them will run a lot better than 25 to 1 chances, and Artorias and Fangirl will be looking for runs and finishing off hard. I didn't think there was much depth. I thought Osipenko you have to be against, just be off the setback in a wide draw. Levante's got a horror draw. Golden Mile I don't think's going any good at all. So once you sort of, and Artorias and Fangirl are going to get back, so they're going to run on. The 2 on pace also. I think mucking around with exotics in this race with Electric Girl and Communist, I think is how I'll play it.
So when you say you've got Animo mark 250, is that a subject of map and you're putting percentages against other horses that force that price out? Is that sort of how you got to that?
Yeah, and it's obviously a punter's market too. So marking to 100%, I got him 238, and that's just
okay.
Yeah, it's more about me trying to find an angle to. I try and definitely test the favourites as hard as I can. So I'm going to be, as penal as I can to favourites in general, and that's probably, as long as I probably could have got him. But yeah, I do think that he's just that little bit vulnerable with for a couple of reasons. But last start he didn't have those, and he's going to start a similar price.
Yep, fair enough.
All right. What is next? Golden Slipper. Holy heck, the Golden Slipper. We're halfway through. It's a beast of a card. The Mighty Facile, well, he's definitely not favourite anymore. He's scratched. He was never favourite. $3.60 cylinder, $6.50 learning to fly. Red Resistance, well back now, $9. Don Corleone, 10. King's Gambit, 10. Little Bros, 13. Platinum Jubilee has been well backed into 13. Shinzo, 16. Steel City, 16. 20-1 plus the rest.
I'll go first.
You can go first.
Gonna be fucking dynamite speed, isn't there? Red Resistance gonna push forward from the front. Preble got everyone in his ear saying he went too slow last start. He's not gonna want to be caught any more than 2 wide. Definitely might want to be 3 wide. So he's going to be pushing forward from out there. You got a horse like Exploring. They're going to want to put the speed on that for cylinder and keep Red Resistance out. So I don't think it's going to be letting Red Resistance cross it. You got Timmy on Platinum Jubilee, blinkers on. Fucking hell.
Steel City.
How fast are they going to go here?
Steel City's
what's Steel City going to do? They're going to go back, aren't they?
Oh, I don't think they will. Can they go back?
I'd be snagging it if I was him.
I'd honestly be trying to get to the fence first if I was Steel City and let Red Resistance go. That'd be my plan. But obviously, you're not going to get there cheap. But that'd be plan A. If they all go berserk underwood, maybe you're going to have to make a decision. But a hard fit horse on the back up. I think they struggle to sort of sprint quickly. If anything, the fitness is their advantage. So I'd be going forward.
Fair enough. Well, if it does, that only adds to my view on how fast his pace is going to be. History of this race is, for me, I always want to be on inside barriers, saving ground. Last year, horses did get caught up in traffic, but generally the best horses do find a way to win these races with gaps opening up, is my experience of it. I did say before it had its first start when King's Game was $1.28, I was on Shinzo at $101.26 for the slipper before it had started off the trial. So I'm happy to be going to this race with that ticket, albeit the Pago form just never holds up. It just doesn't. Even when Cosmic Force won by 12 and J-Mac was saying it was a machine, couldn't even run a drum. But I do think it gets... I do think with the dynamite pace on it, I do think it'll be very strong late Shinzo. But just because of the history of Pago winners into this, I can't be confident. I'll be wrapped if it runs a drum. So because of the map and because I just really want to be with that silver slipper form, I think the Red Resistance show that it had Steel City covered this prep, albeit it was Steel City's first race, and you can tie a lot of these in together. I just really want to be with that silver slipper form, and I've always loved Cylinder. He's been super impressive, and I don't see a way he doesn't, get a gun run. He's got J-Mac. He's going to be saving tickets. Godolphin want him to win, so they're going to have Exploring, putting on the speed. I just think it's clear top beat. You get $4 on Betfair. I just think that's a really fair price. So for me, Cylinder, Learning to Fly is going to get a gun run on the map too. I thought Don Corleone was probably a chance. I'm hoping Shinzo runs on, but I'm Cylinder. Hoping for Shinzo, praying for Shinzo, but I'm going to go with the Colts. I'm going to say the Colts win the slipper, and I'm Cylinder from Shinzo and Don Corleone. Yeah,
well, it's good. We're going head-to-head a little bit, but the only thing I've got a problem with Cylinder is that it's had sort of PRs in small fields. It's 2 runs back. The soft draw was a big pointer for it, that it needed that to really justify its price. It gets it. Like you say, you got Exploring there running cover to a certain degree, whether it's Punters support. I actually thought its run was really good. It was nearly one of the best runs I thought in the Blue Diamond. I could argue that it was as good as Little Bros or anything in that race, sitting outside that really fast tempo, and actually gave it a bolter's chance if it sort of crossed and then sort of Red Resistance got across it. I thought it would run better than $71 or whatever it is. It's not a bad horse, but I do agree. Number one. For their team is Cylinder. There's no doubt. Like I feel he's not going to earn them anywhere near the money that a win for Cylinder would. But I'm in the other camp of Learning to Fly and King's Gambit. I just think they're going to go so fast that Learning to Fly has shown she's adaptable, shown that she can come from off the speed in that ugly race. It was only an English, whatever you want to call it, restricted race, but a lot of that form has turned it up okay. You know, if the Siles come out and raced well, the Zargos come out and raced well, and whether that form measures up or not, I'm not really worried about times from last start. I thought it showed how tough she is, that they went out quick in their first half, whereas sort of Cylinder and Red Resistance were able to dictate the tempo to themselves and sort of sprint off it at their own leisure, which they won't get that opportunity here, I wouldn't imagine. Red Resistance really dangerous if it's let alone in front. Could just keep running. Gay's horses are just absolutely flying. Platinum Jubilee should get the right run. I think it'll get across most of the field and settle just behind the speed and run well. And King's Gambit we talked about. I've watched that replay 1,000 times, and I'm of the opinion that Nash did everything he could, and I'm not saying on purpose, to get the horse beat there. He made every wrong mistake he could make. He kicked it out of the gates. Then he grabbed hold of it. He just sort of basically by default ran cover for Cylinder, who was then allowed to go through his gears and then had the audacity to run the strongest last 200 of the race there. It came out and everyone's wrapped in the trial. The trial was here nor there. It just showed that the horse has still got plenty of life in him. Slow time and ridden off the speed. He looked impressive, but the trial's not why I like him. I just think it showed that they've had one race in mind since that first start, and the Snowdens are the best at doing that. They just don't care about any of the lead-ups. They just worry about the grand finals, which a lot of the colt owners don't. They try and win every race along the way. The Snowdens have never been caught up in that. And if one horse is going to launch and win easy, it's going to be that horse for mine. I think Cylinder's a bit of a grinder too, which is, he's run home in fast sections his last two starts due to off slow tempo, so it's hard to say that. But he goes through his gears, which I think he's going to need uninterrupted running from that inside draw to be able to get to his top. Whereas I think a horse like King's Gambit or Learning to Fly can quicken a bit better than him. So it's a very competitive race, isn't it? So I'm not unloading on anything in it personally.
No. I mean, I'm hoping Shinzo wins, but I'm really just hoping. But I think it's a strong slipper. People are bagging it, but I think it's very strong.
I was bagging the tripe out of the 2-year-olds up until probably February. And since then, I'm not saying they're the best 2-year-olds I've ever seen, but there's probably 10 horses in this race that you could see going on and being good 3-year-olds. And that's all I really want to see. And there's no squibby-looking 2-year-olds. Platinum Jubilee, and I hate to say it, probably the least developed physically, and she's just held her form. She's probably going to be a better horse in 6 months, but not many of them are squibby-looking things. They all look like they're going to come back and race on and develop, which is what you want to see, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
My least favourite big race of the day is the Galaxy. Is it the last race we're covering?
It is,
yeah. Uncommon James, they've found it this time, $3. Asfura, $7. Remark, you're going to have to go first here, mate. They're all your horses. Remark, $7. Eduardo, $9.50. Shades of Rose first up, $10. Zoo Style, $11. Maria Mia, $11. 14 Cannonball, and $17 Anamark, 41s plus the rest.
Mate, I was absolutely filthy on myself. I declared Uncommon James first up on this show, run second. I don't follow up the Oakley plate when I just should have in hindsight, and it wins. And I tipped the second thing on this show. It's pissed me off. I feel like I let everyone down. Well, we all know Eduardo can't win because it's GAWN, gone. Told you that before the last start. And I was proved right again. I've keep putting the moz on horses.
Got lapped.
So, look, we're going to have to really see what Map's doing on the day. Is this going to be dynamite leaders? There's so much speed here. I'm sorry, I didn't realise Uncommon James. I like Uncommon James. There's no way I could take 2-1 in this race. Just no chance. I was keen on Remark last start. Thought it ran well. Drops in weight here. Can see it getting... Asfira is going to go hard. Zoo Style went like the clappers. Eduardo with Nash is only going to go forward. Like Shades of Rose, I probably can't keep up. But Cannonball Barrier 1, 50 kilos. It's going to be mental. So I sort of want something running on, but not for last. I think that's Remark each way. I also think that's also Uncommon James, but just at the price, I'd battle with it. I'll probably chop out on it. So I'm Remark with a chop out on Uncommon James.
Yep, not much I can improve on. I think exactly how you've kind of described the race is how I think it'll be run. It'll be mental. There'll be a 3-wide line, no doubt, and hopefully Remark's the one that's 1 back, 3 out. And Uncommon James has a chance of being back in the ruck a little bit. And if you're getting sort of $9.50 or whatever it is, $9 around Remark and $3 Uncommon James is a no-brainer for me. Great rider, Damien Lane, but I just think he maybe wants a little bit further too. So he might have the ping out of his legs a touch compared to Remark with the big weight drop. What's it drop? 7 kilos. This is the perfect horse for me to sit he's capable of sitting on a fast tempo and grinding off it, which is enough to win this race with that weight, I think. So I've come to the same horse as you. They're going to fly. There's no real sharp turn of foot horse in the race. I'll probably Uncommon James may be it, but it's a horse where I want to be with a grinder with no weight and kept coming back to the same horse you have, Remark each way.
Okay. Don't worry about bests and that. I think we've covered everything pretty comprehensively.
Yeah, I think we have. There's nothing really. Probably Pericles is the best bet if you want to have one for me. There's the horse that looks hardest to beat at a fair enough price. But I agree with you. Sort of 2 to 1's probably where you'd is the sweet spot to back it. But there's angles to each race, but then not easy.
Yeah, I think Alligator Blood is clear top pick and about the right price on the day. So that'd be it for me.
Can we get a camera on Timmy's head when it crosses the line? I don't mean to bag this and say, that he's not going to support the Waterhouse camp at all, but when he's doing the figures in his head for how much that race is worth and what he may have, what I may have earned, his head actually may blow off, and it could well worth be following him around with a camera if you're at Rosehill and you see him watching the All-Star Mile, because he could implode.
It reminds me of when Giga Kick got up in the Everest and they've panted Jamie Sparr. That was
it's nearly identical, isn't it? It's nearly identical.
She wasn't exactly jumping up and down for joy for.
Well, it's hard, isn't it? As much as he loves the horse and he loves the stable and they work together every day, it's still the first thing that probably floods through your brain, isn't it? It'd be hard to be fully cheering, and it's not the same circumstances, but it's very similar.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Have a great Golden Slipper day. It's going to be a ripper, All-Star Mile as well. Punting extravaganza. I'm excited.
PD will be back with his graceful shirt in the very near future. Cheers, guys.
See you, everyone.